me! No! Wait! Let's go inside.
So what's up? Nothing much. Hey, why'd you stop me?
Because, did you know in Japan you weren't allowed to hit women?
But why?
Because they were rich.
Yeah, but Himena isn't rich.
Still, you shouldn't be hitting her.
Hey, speaking of Japan, didn't we have an assignment or something for history?
Oh, yeah, but I can't remember what it was.
Maybe if we talk about it, we'll be remembered. Or remind us.
Yeah, maybe.
How did people socialize back then? They didn't have phones or computers.
Well, actually, did you know that 1/10 of the 1% of people in Japan didn't talk to the other percentage?
No, how?
Well, that 1/10 of that 1% were actually part of the top 30 ranks.
And how did people determine ranks?
Well, there were 4 ranks, and each person was placed in a rank which depended on their birthdays.
And what did people that were ranked do?
Well, people that were in the highest rank were able to send their children to universities. They wore ceremonial dresses. They were given lighter punishments when they committed crimes, uncompared to poor people. So, yeah. But the most important thing is that people in the top 3 ranks got to hold a 25-fold ban.
Wait, didn't we read this somewhere in the Tales of Genji?
We might have, because the Tales of Genji were written about the people in the highest rank.
So 1/10 of 1% of people.
Precisely.
Speaking of the Tales of Genji, who wrote them again? I can't remember her name.
Her name was something like Murasaka. Mirasaki?
It started with Mora, and that's all I know.
Murasaki.
Yeah, that one.
Her last name started with a sh.
I believe it was Kobe.
No, it was Shikabu.
Oh, that one. She was a woman, right?
Yep. She was a Japanese novelist.
Novelist?
Yeah, you know, like a poet, lady in writing in the imperial court.
Oh yeah. That. It was the first word. It was the first word novel, right?
World novel. Yeah.
It was the first world novel.
Yeah, written in the Japanese between somewhere around like 10,000 and 1012.
Wasn't her name descriptive?
Oh yeah, nobody knew her personal name. Speaking of which, did you know that Heian women were traditionally excluded from learning Chinese?
It was the writing language of the government.
Yeah. Well, Murasaki, who was raised in an erudite father's household, learned to speak Chinese fluently.
An erudite?
Yeah, erudite. You know, having or showing great knowledge of or learning. Erudite.
Okay, so Murasaki was raised in her father's house who had great knowledge, and that's how she learned Chinese fluently?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Speaking of Murasaki, how were women treated in Japan?
Well, women in their time period were expected to be well educated and cultured, especially if their family were of the nobility or the government.
What was part of their education?
A variety of things like music, poetry, art, fashion, calligraphy. They were all part of a woman's education.
What's calligraphy?
Good question. Give me a sec. So calligraphy was just a fancy way to write, so like a decorative handwriting.
What did people wear back then?
Well, males sometimes had faint mustaches and goatee, and women's mouths were painted small and red, and their eyebrows were plucked or shaved and red drawn higher on the forehead. Women had shiny black flowering hair, and they wore Janhanto.
Jahanto?
Something like that.
What are Jahantos?
Well, they are formal dresses with a complex 12-layered robe.
Anything else?
And the costumes were determined by office and season.
How did you do that?
Do what?
Never mind. Let's keep on going.
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah?
Did you know that rich people hired samurais, and the poor people that couldn't hire samurais did not hire samurais?
Cool.
Oh, you know, I forgot I had a drawing of the Tales of Genji. Yeah. Hey!
I forgot.
We're actually part of the top 3 ranks.
What the hell? What are you reading? Wait.
Start up top. Okay. Hey, look. I read that and you read this.
Oh, and okay.
Alright, let's restart again.
Okay.
Well, that 1/10 of the 1% were actually part of the top 3 ranks.
And how did people determine ranks?
Oh, let's restart this. Okay. Well, that 1/10 of the 1% were actually. Okay.
Hold on, I need water.
Water. Okay. Well, that 1/10 of the fuck. Well. Okay. Well. Okay. Okay.
It's like what, 9? Yes. Okay.
Damn it. Okay. Well, that 1/10 of the 1% were Alex. Okay. Well, that 1/10 of the 1% were actually part of the top 3 ranks. Alex, I'm gonna pull your damn hair. Why are you laughing?